Let's fix our chaturanga. If you experience pain in the top part of your shoulder here, if you feel like you feel very heavy when you're lowering halfway or to the belly, or maybe you just feel awkward all the way around in chaturanga, here are some tips and tricks on how to help your practice be long-term. One of two things is probably happening when you get into chaturanga and you feel heavy when you're trying to lower down, or maybe you get to a place and your lower back starts hurting, or maybe you get the shoulder pain too. Again, one of two things is probably not activating your body properly. You might not be strong enough, but we can do these things and we can build up strength over time. So if you already know how to do a push-up, you're halfway there. Hardest part is over where you have the strength. Fun fact, I still cannot push myself up from a full push-up, but I can hold a chaturanga. I don't understand why. So don't fear if you can't do a push-up. You can still do chaturanga. Let's fix your chaturanga. We're going to use props today, 2 blocks and a strap for this practice. You may want to go ahead and adjust your strap. You want to do it in a circle, kind of like a belt, where there is a lot of tension. In that way, you're not going to lose the function of your strap. So maybe you go ahead and set this up. So chaturanga, what is it? It is one posture. It is not the flow of your vinyasa. It is low plank, 4-limbed staff pose is what the Sanskrit of that is. So it is here. You are holding yourself at a halfway, usually to press into upward facing dog. Chaturanga is very hard. So please don't feel like if you don't get it today or tomorrow that you're never going to get it. You will. Give yourself a lot of practice. Rome was not built in a day, nor was the yoga sequence or yoga posture of chaturanga. So one of two things may be happening if you're doing it incorrectly. The first one is that you're weight bearing way too much in your shoulder and you're diving in with your shoulders. So it can look like this when you're lowering down rather than using the backside of your body and your shoulders. Or you're lowering with your body before you're lowering your lower body and your legs versus your upper body and your shoulders. So I'm going to kind of demonstrate both of those things of what it can look like. I'm going to do both these on my knees so that way I do not hurt myself, because these are very easy ways to hurt yourself. So the most common one that I see in my practice or when I'm teaching is someone who's lowering down first. They think low push-up, I'm going to lower down. They start with their hips, and then it's very hard to lower down. So it's almost like they're in an upward facing dog in cobra pose as they're lowering, and their chest is the last thing to lower. Ideally, you want everything lowering at the same time for your chaturanga. The second one I see is this kind of interesting dolphin dive. Hands are probably pretty far back for this one, and they're diving in shoulder first and then lifting up. I think that is happening from the cue of keeping your biceps and your arms close to your body. So if you're squeezing yourself like this, squeezing, they kind of make a shelf and then drop in. It's a very interesting and strange posture. Also, that's going to hurt the front of your shoulders. A big key, if you're doing it wrong, you're going to feel pain in your shoulder or in your lower back. So how to do it correctly? What you're doing is you are using your shoulders. So let's say I was in high plank right now. What is happening is I'm bracing my core. Everything is engaged, and then I'm lowering with shoulder blades going back. That's what's happening. This is chaturanga. Okay? Noticing how my hands are here, and then they end up here, a little bit lower down. It's because we're going to weight shift ourselves from high plank. We're going to send our collarbones a little bit more forward before we lower down. So let's start it with blocks. Blocks are fun. Blocks are not my favorite way to figure out chaturanga, but this is great if you already have the strength, but maybe you're just not quite getting it in progression of where your hips should be falling, where your upper body should be falling. So use your 2 blocks. They should be about the same length as your forearm, because that's basically how far you're going down. If you have smaller arms, you may want to go down a notch in your block, but I have very tall, long arms, so I am going to have them up on the tallest level. And to make sure that I'm not going to hit my microphone, I'm just going to go ahead and make sure that we are good here. Okay, perfect. So you want one block to hit your hips, your pelvis, one block to hit your chest. Depending on your chest, you may want to go more towards your collarbones, you may want to go more towards your diaphragm. Doesn't matter, because you want to hit it all at the same time. So from your high plank, lean forward. That is key. You're engaging your glutes, your core, everything. From there, drop your knees. If it feels silly, it's okay. This is still Chaturanga. This is still a plank posture. You're going to look slightly forward. You're not looking down at your blocks. You're engaging the back of your head. And then as you keep everything engaged, you're going to keep your elbows pretty close to your body, lowering down. So naturally, hips are probably going to touch first, especially with knees down, because we are naturally a little bit lower. If you were to take legs up, leaning forward, and then lower, everything should hit at somewhat the same time. One thing to avoid here too is if you go here, tailbone wants to start coming up. As you lower down, that's where you're going to find a little bit of pain in your lower back. So if you keep everything stacked in, tailbone squeezing in, glutes squeezing in, pressing the ground away as you lean forward, that is safe Chaturanga. Okay. Try that a few times. Take a deep breath, pause as needed. This next one, my favorite, I feel like this just makes it feel a little more fun. The blocks are probably going to be more accessible if you're in a yoga practice. You can take them to your hips and keep them on your mat through flow, whereas the strap, there's a time and place for this because it can be hard to keep a strap throughout an entire vinyasa sequence. But for the strap, you're going to want to go ahead and find your Chaturanga arms and have your strap in that distance. So it is going to go right close to your elbow, kind of the base of your bicep. It's going to hold you in place. It's also going to give you correct form and posture. You can do this with the resistance band as well. I'm going to kind of take this excess of the strap and wrap it around. Start with on your knees, but making sure everything is correct. Starting in your high plank first, you're going to lean forward. Then you drop your knees. You're going to press out into your strap. You do not want your strap to be soft for this. So adding a lot of extra tension. Shoulder blades are going to squeeze together. You're going to shine your collarbone slightly towards the front of your mat. Gaze slightly forward. Chaturanga at a 90-degree angle. You can flip into upward facing dog from here. And maybe down dog too. Forehead might touch your strap, that's okay. Take a deep breath, sigh it out. A little tension on your strap, roll it back, high plank. Still tension as you lean forward. Glutes engage, arms engage. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. You might even try like a push-up here if you want to. Lowering down, pressing yourself back up. And exploring the relationship of shoulder blades rolling back, collarbones shining forward. So that is my favorite way to explore and practice Chaturanga. Some days too, depending on your cycle, especially if you're a woman and your hormones and all the things, some days you're just much stronger than other days. So don't feel like using props make you less than or that your practice is somehow failing. So trust the process and keep working on your Chaturanga.